30 seconds. So that's why things look a little bit different than normal. Testing pending homes. With gold, one of the worst home reports there are. So, but I like to test anyway, just to see what's going on. Entering at 9:59:59. News came out exactly on time, and it worked perfectly, but the wrong direction. Pending home sales were much worse than expected. So one of the things we're dealing with gold is that is called a trend trade. Okay, in other words, that's a trade. Gold's down a lot of ticks, over 150 ticks. So basically, you just have a trend trade where the news comes out and gold just continues its trend. And it really is not a news trade, in my opinion. It's just a trend trade. So it doesn't really tell us enough about whether or not pending homes should be traded, because you've got a pretty large trend in gold. It's down since 6 p.m. That's the time I check, 160 ticks. But I like to still do the test of the report. The news was very negative. They were expecting 5%. They got 1%, 1.9. But gold now is moving the direction it should be going. So some traders might have waited for that drop and then bought on the drop but very, very risky, because making a new low, you know that you could make a new low 15 times, 8 times, 4 times, 3 times. You never know when it's going to stop making a new low. So that is difficult to buy on the low. Some people do it, and you can use a 10 tick risk profile to do something like that. So I got here a little bit early, so no harm in testing pending homes. So now I'll just reset the account, and we'll get started with natural gas. And contract 0621. Let me get our YouTube set up. Okay, I want to thank everybody. Let me do our normal quick introduction. Only takes a second, and we'll get started. We got plenty of time. All right, so everybody, welcome to the 10-minute trades. Oh, that's an old natural gas setup. Let me get the right one. Hang on, folks. Hang on. I'm just a human. I make mistakes. Where's my natural gas? Here it is. All right. So I hit the wrong one. It happens. All right. Welcome to Natural Gas Storage Report, 10-Minute Trades Trade Room. My name is Lee Goldstein, Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, all trades we discuss for educational purposes only. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so trade carefully. All right. Natural gas is the contract for 6. So pending homes, lower than expected. Most of the other home reports have been very good. Very good. So let's look at a couple of videos on natural gas, the previous trades. Last week, if you remember, our broker would not allow us to trade the current contract. They have very strict rules that have to do with what we call rollover. And the contracts were rolling over. They wouldn't let us trade the current contract, and the volume was a lot lower on the forward contract. So we elected not to trade. It happened to be a perfect trade. And that happens. It's nobody's fault. You're always making decisions based on risk. If you feel a trade is too risky, then you don't take it. I mean, that's the way to proceed. If you feel a trade is functioning normally, that, you know, the markets look normal. Good morning, Mike. The markets look normal and everything looks correct, and you feel that your risk is where it should be, then you take the trade. And it's not whether the risk to, not talking risk to reward. I'm talking whether the market is safe or not overly risky to trade. Sometimes market conditions make it so that you might want to pass on a trade. And that doesn't mean anything bad. It just means the market conditions might be too risky to trade. It's not that complicated. Let me see if I have last week's natural gas video, because it was a very nice looking move, of which, you know, natural gas has been trading pretty well. So even if you lose on it, there will be times you lose on it, but there's been plenty of winners. Let me see where I put that video, if I put it anywhere. I don't know why sometimes I misplace videos or I don't save them. I didn't save last week's video. Not sure why. Last week was 422. And it was perfect. You know what? I can download it. Let me get it. Let me grab it, because even though we didn't trade it, it was a beautiful trade. It was a beautiful move. Take me like 10 seconds to get it. And then I'll have it too. So natural gas last week was 4. Let's look at the DMM. Here's the DMM for natural gas. The daily market report was 422. All right, I believe, let me make sure I have it. If I don't have it, I'm not going to waste too much time on this. Okay, looks good. Looks like we got it. If I can't download it, let's go. Download. Okay. So last week's natural gas looked like this. Remember, I was not able to trade it, or made the decision not to trade it, because the broker would not let me trade the proper contract, the contract that I wanted to trade. But I just wanted you to see the move. Okay, so here's our brackets, and it just shot right up. Just a perfect natural gas move. It was a very, very good looking trade. And the reason it moved that way is the news numbers had a bigger drawdown, or there was a lot less, to explain it more carefully, a lot less gas was around than what they expected by about 11 billion cubic feet. Okay, and that's a lot. That was a big news difference between what was expected and what happened. So that was last week. Natural gas, let's look at the week before. So the week before was the 15th, I believe. Mike, it was a very confusing trade this morning, the unemployment. It would have been canceled because it didn't generate a fill within 10 seconds. If you stayed in, the GDP news was very late. The jobless claims were about 4 seconds late. They didn't fill for 15 seconds, which would have been an official cancel. Then it filled to the upside. And the jobless numbers were negative. So it was just a little bit confusing. I didn't trade it because I felt after watching the previous GDPs, the news was not released on time, either of the last 2 quarters. And I've just been feeling that the Thursday jobless trades have been not behaving well. So we're kind of looking for a better setup. We're trying to see if we can regain confidence in our Thursday setup. Ironically, it worked, but it was a confusing mess of chaos, actually. Natural gas 2 weeks ago would have been April 15th. I'll show you that one. Now, one of the issues, Mike, for us is I don't think you should cancel reports until you know the news has come out. If you're positive the news hasn't come out and it's a 10-second cancel and it's a single news event, not a double like today. See, today the problem was it was a double news event and one of the news events came out 5 seconds late. So you could have been destroyed in your trade by the second news result if it was dramatically different than what was expected on the opposite direction of the way you got filled for the jobless claims. So there was extra risk in the situation because of the way the news got released this morning. Natural gas on 4/15, we traded live and looks like we made eight ticks. Our target, we've been trading natural gas for 8 ticks. That was on 4/15. Then the week before that, 4/8. See if I have that video. There's been a few videos that they just seem to have disappeared for whatever reason. 4/8 was a stop. Believe me, I'm not trying to hide it because it was a stop. I don't see that video for some reason. 4/8. Let me just look in one other place to see if I didn't put it in the wrong place by accident. But natural gas on 4/8 was definitely a losing trade. Strange that I don't have it. I have the DMM. I have everything associated with it except the video for some reason. I'll have to look for it and see if I can find it. Not sure what I did with it. Looking in one more place, I just don't see it. It happens. Sometimes videos, they just get misplaced. I'll look for it. The week before that was a winning trade for one. Here's April 1st. Okay, here we go. There was a bit of pre-volatility before the trade. And I believe we were going for 8 ticks. And it shot up and gave us, there was a lot more than 8 ticks available. And the news, again, you had a very nice offset. There was a lot less gas around than what was expected, and natural gas does seem to react well when the news offset. The difference between what's expected and what you get is large. Natural gas does well with that. The week before that was March 25th. I'd like to find one loser. Let me go back to a previous DMM, see if I can find a loser. Natural gas has been doing very well. You got to go back to DMMs to see if I can find a loser. It's been trading well. February 25th. February 25th. See if I have that video. All right. It's February 25th. You could see it fills, stops, reverses, and the news was almost matching. In other words, previously we said if there was a good offset, it generally gives you a good direction in the correct direction based on the news. This particular news, you had an upward trend that day, a small one, and the news was almost as expected, and that's called matching news. When the news is matching, you often don't get a good result in the trade. That's what happens. All right, so let's set up our trade. I'm just going to trade for one contract, 8 ticks. Just looking for a quick little profit. And then we'll be back this afternoon for Amazon earnings. We made a couple $100 on Facebook yesterday. So we'll come back for Amazon. So natural gas, bracket of 5, just looking for one contract, target of 8. Stop is 15. And our entry time is 10:29:59. $10:29:59. Labeling the trade, natural gas report. So a bracket of 5, one contract for 8 ticks. Entry time is 10:29:59. And I've got it labeled, and that's it. Simple little trade. Just looking for 8 ticks. We'll check our time sync. Put our charts on live. Turn the recorder on. Do all the things we always do. And if you're watching on YouTube and you enjoy learning about trading events, give the stream a like, sign up for our channel, and hit the notification bell so you know the next time we're going to be here. Let's check our next time we're going to be here. Let's check our time sync. We go to the website time.is to check our time sync. And our sync is good. Yesterday, we could not get in sync before the earnings trade, I think it was. It was either FOMC or before the earnings trade. Boy, they need help in India. India is a mess with the virus. Maybe countries can ship some vaccines like crazy. So many people. All right, so we've got a little bit of time for natural gas. Let's look at a 30-second chart on the right. So natural gas is fairly flat since 6 p.m. yesterday, fairly flat. Yes, Fred, I heard that the U.S. shipped 20. I didn't remember what amount it was. I think the whole world needs to chip in. What's the population of India? 1.6 billion. They need a lot of help. They'll probably wind up reaching herd immunity before they get enough people vaccinated, which is terrible because their hospital system is collapsing, is what I've been reading. Read a great article. I was talking about it this morning about one guy that made like $25 million on GameStop. It was really great. It was a great article. And a lot of people think that these things happen real easily, real quickly, and in a minute. He had been trading stocks and penny stocks and over-the-counter stocks for something like 10 to 20 years, blowing out accounts, never really hitting the big one. But he always did a lot of research, and he was a very smart guy. And he happened upon GameStop, and he understood ultimately what the short squeeze meant. And he analyzed the fact that he thought that there was no way that the hedge funds were going to be able to get out of their short positions. Normally, when you have a short squeeze, you can get out. but he did proper analysis that told him that there were some very big funds that were stuck in their investment and they couldn't get out. And that was a big factor in why the stock went up so high. It's a great article if you have the opportunity to read it. It's just really fascinating. I wouldn't mind making 25 million. I could find a way to spend it. I guess I could buy Mike Tyson's Tigers and his old mansion, and that would spend most of it. That would be about 25 million. So looking for just 8 ticks. It always depends very heavily on what the news result is going to be. They're expecting it's a little bit strange move. A little bit of a strange move there. They're expecting a build of 11 billion. A build of 11 billion. And that's cubic feet is what they measure. I believe they measure natural gas in cubic feet. For us, I mean, we don't really care if it's cubic feet, cubic inches. It's the 11 billion versus, you know, if you get 4 billion, that would mean there's less gas around. You'd think it would pop the price up. If you get 20 billion, there's more gas around. That would possibly drop the price down. That's how we are doing the trade. We create a bracket of 5 ticks before the news comes out. And that's the way that we respond to this particular trade. Forex Factory has 8 billion. It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. There's differences between the calendars sometimes. Forex Factory is the gold standard, and Financial Juice has 8 billion. So 8 billion really should be the number. 8 billion should be the number, okay? Because that's what Juice has also. That's unusual. Well, investing.com has definitely been sloppier lately. KT, I just had the article just was on my phone as a push. I can't remember the guy's name, because if you Google the guy's name, Google GameStop $25 million profit, and I'll bet it comes up. KT, Google $25 million profit. GameStop, $25 million profit. Try that. And if it doesn't come up, shoot me an email, KT, and I'll find it for you. Because it's a long, intelligent, interesting article. It's a great read. I really enjoyed it. So we're thinking 8 billion is the number expected. Forex Factory has it, and Financial Juice has it as well. So we'll see. 5-tick bracket. Okay, I got a stop error, but it hit my target. That's because it was so fast it couldn't place the stop. But I was already out of the trade by the time I got that error. That was like the fastest natural gas trade I've ever seen. And what happened was exactly what I said would happen. We got a 15 billion build. So we got our 8 ticks. Sorry, I didn't trade 2 contracts. After the next natural gas stop out, I'm going to just up my contracts. Okay. But we hit our target less than a second. That was less than a second today. Less than a second. How'd everybody do? No, it wasn't Keith Gill, Mike. That's not the guy I'm talking. McCaskill? I think the guy's name was McCaskill. Something of that sort. So I got filled at 22 and I was taken out at 14. Too bad I didn't get positive slippage on that trade and get a couple of extra ticks. I should have gotten a couple of extra ticks on that trade. Let me take a quick picture of that because that was a beautiful, beautiful move. It's always fun when you make your plan. Look, we traded our plan, hit our exact target, did exactly what we expected. So on YouTube, how could you not like that? Give us a like, folks. Subscribe to the channel. Join our trade room. There's all sorts of things you can do to get involved. I took a picture of my natural gas trade. Let's watch the video real quick. I'm assuming anybody who traded that made money. I don't think you should have lost money on that trade. Oh, Mike. Fred got 7 ticks. And you got out with a profit. Well, good. Okay. I'm sorry, I blew everyone out of the trade room by accident. Mike, that was so fast a move. So fast a move. That's the biggest danger of event-based trading. I mean, you know, it occasionally happens. It's not that there's something wrong. It's if you can understand, look at the video. Let's look at the video. If you look at the video, right? It'll take me 1 second. It's so fast, no software can keep up with that. You know, maybe a broker that has billions of dollars in assets, maybe they can, you know, maybe they can keep up. But normal people like us, there's no way that you could keep up. And what happened with me is my trade hit my target, filled it, but it got an error because it tried to place the stop and it was already out of the trade. The trade was already over. And I'm sure it was trying to place the stop in a location where was not allowed. And that's why you can get an error when the move is so fast. I mean, that was nanoseconds. It was over before you even looked. Quicker than the blink of an eye. Quicker than the blink of an eye. So I'm happy you got out with a profit, Mike. Fred made his 7 ticks. I got my 8 ticks. So natural gas continues to be a solid trade, solid trade. And remember, it was 15 billion versus 8 billion, even better of an offset. So natural gas has been responding very well to news. All right, everybody, will be back at 3:30 for Amazon. All right, we'll try and trade Amazon earnings today. Okay, so I will see everybody. Thank you on YouTube. Give us a like, please. Join up with us, www.10minutetrades.com, and you can learn how to do this. All right, folks.